Henley Interiors का रिप्लाई।
जब हिंदुस्तान मिले हिंदुस्तान से
Visit your nearest JK Tyre Steel Wheel store today.
आप सब जानते हैं कांग्रेस का अगला सदर ही आजाद हिंदुस्तान पहला प्राइम मिनिस्टर बने। सबने एकमत होके सरदार पटेल को चुना।
इस पार्टी को, हम सबको सरदार की जरूरत है और देश को जवाहर की।
फ्रीडम एट मिडनाइट 15 नवंबर से सोनी लिव पर।
The next Indian icons, beating everyone on the globe. B6E and XEV9E. Mahindra's electric origin SUVs. Catch them at Unlimit India.
झंझनाहट से जल्द आराम पाएं। सेंसोडाइन।
Good evening, this is Brass Tacks. I'm Zaka Jacob. The Supreme Court has come down heavily on what is being touted as bulldozer justice. Now, the practice of demolishing the homes or properties of those who are accused of other crimes. The court today had some very sharp words. Rule of law is the foundation of governance. The guilt of the accused cannot be prejudged. The executive cannot replace the judiciary. Even as it laid down national guidelines for when and where these demolitions can be done. Will the state, and between both the opposition and the BJP-ruled states, they have indulged in this almost non-stop. Will this now, the sharp words of the Supreme Court and the guidelines that have been laid down by the Supreme Court pan-India, will this stop in fact this form of vigilante justice?
माफिया कोई भी हो, सरकार की 0 की नीति है और उन माफियाओं के खिलाफ मिट्टी में मिलाने का काम उनका हमारी सरकार करेगी।
घर तोड़ना जानते हैं उनसे क्या उम्मीद करोगे आप? कम से कम आज के बाद उनका बुलडोजर हमेशा हमेशा के लिए खड़ा हो जाएगा गैराज में। अब किसी गरीब का घर नहीं टूटेगा।
और पूछना चाहता हूं भाजपा के हुक्मरानों को, अब आप क्या करेंगे और जो नुकसान आपने पहुंचाया इस देश की छवि को, उसकी भरपाई के लिए क्या माफी मांगेंगे?
बुलडोजर के नाम से कुछ अपराधी टाइप के लोग हैं, कुछ समाजवादी पार्टी के लोग हैं, उन्हें करंट सा लगता है, लेकिन अपराधी और गुंडे माफियाओं ने और कहीं इस प्रकार की स्थिति पैदा की है, अपराधों की उसमें और ज़्यादा बढ़ोतरी करते हैं, तब मुझे लगता है कि कानून के दायरे में रह करके हमारी सरकार की आवश्यकता पड़ती है तो बुलडोजर का इस्तेमाल करते हैं।
आज पूरे हिंदुस्तान में यदि अपराधियों के मन में कहीं न कहीं डर है, तो हमें लगता है कि अपराधियों के मन में डर होना एक अच्छे देश की निशानी है।
All right, so will the Supreme Court order today put an end to this form of vigilante justice or instant justice? Let's open this up to our panelists. Kaushal Mishra, spokesperson of the BJP, joining us. Ghanshyam Tiwari, national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. Smita Prakash, editor of ANI, and Javed Ansari, senior journalist, joining us. Kaushal Mishra, the court was very scathing in what it said in its order today. Rule of law is the foundation of governance. The guilt of the accused cannot be prejudged. The executive cannot replace the judiciary. The action would violate the separation of powers, and that would be arbitrary demolishing one out of many structures shows the intent to punish. Now, the point is that the court is saying that the executive cannot act arbitrarily. You cannot prejudge the guilt of an accused.
Yes, Jaka, it is very clear that any demolition which is illegal is illegal. Whole judgment of the Supreme Court is based on this motto, that any illegal demolition done by anybody is illegal. And in the same judgment, they have cited the previous judgment in which the government court has cited that the affidavit of Uttar Pradesh government is, even Supreme Court appreciated the affidavit of the Uttar Pradesh government, in which the Uttar Pradesh government himself said that after doing the notice, after following the due process of law, if any bulldozer is done, it is a justice. It is by the law, by the intent of Constitution itself. So I don't see any problem. It's just that Supreme Court has clarified the terms and conditions. And in the same judgment, if you go to, I think, 91 or 92 para, in which it is clearly mentioned that any illegal encroachment done on the road, government property, water body should be demolished without any need of any court order. So if any illegal construction is there, still that can be demolished by the rule of law, by the following the due process of law. So
no, Kaushal Mishra ji, the court then has come out with these guidelines, national guidelines, saying no demolition cannot happen without prior notice. People must get 15 days to respond. The demolition must be videographed. The report then has to go to the district collector, and the district collector has to give a personal hearing to those who have been affected. So don't you think that is straight away sort of rejecting what the BJP government, various state governments, not just one, and opposition state governments also, been using bulldozer as some form of instant justice?
Jaka, you yourself said it is the national guidelines, and bulldozer is not going only on the Uttar Pradesh, running on the Uttar Pradesh. It is Rajasthan, it was Jammu Kashmir, it was even the Mumbai. And it is clarified for the Mumbai type of justice, in which you have seen an actress was harassed and the High Court has punished the government and ordered for rebuilding. So any illegal bulldozer action is illegal, and that is why the whole national guidelines comes. Otherwise, what is the issue of bringing the national guideline only based on the Uttar Pradesh action? So it is very clear that any judicious move done by any government for the demolition is welcome, but yes, any illegal demolition is not welcome.
Okay, so let me ask Ghanshyam Tiwari. So Kaushal Mishra of the BJP is saying that court has not put a stay on any legal demolition. If people have built illegal properties, the court has said you can go ahead and demolish that. It has framed guidelines, not specific to Uttar Pradesh. You know, it's going to apply to the entire country. So then why are you picking on the Yogi Sarkar? Why are you picking on the demolitions done in Uttar Pradesh? Because demolitions have happened in Rajasthan when the Congress was in power. Demolitions have happened in Maharashtra when Uddhav Thackeray was in power. So why are you picking on just one government, one state government, when everybody has used this? And two, there is no specific rejection or repudiation of what the UP government has done.
Good evening, Zaka, to you, the viewers, and for my fellow co-panelists. There are three things absolutely clear. That the Supreme Court is coming out heavily on the kangaroo mafia court that Uttar Pradesh has created, a court that was celebrated by none other than the Prime Minister himself on April 22, when he said that leaders in India should take lessons from Yogi Adityanath on how bulldozer is to be used. What is Yogi Adityanath government? Who is Yogi Adityanath? Until 2017, when he became Chief Minister, he had cases such as 307, 295, 153A. So by his own affidavit, he is no saint. There are serious, heinous charges that were there that past 10 years he has removed. He ran what is a Sena, popular Sena, that was violent. So with that mindset, you become the Chief Minister, you go out, you create an atrocious government that has worst custodial death records, that goes around tom-toming that we can demolish anybody's homes. Even the ones who rescued people in the tunnel mishap, their home was demolished. And the entire BJP, which has a new song today, when India believes in Satyamev Jayate, the BJP has a new song, which is Batenge to Katenge. This is a new model of BJP that will go against the human rights of anybody that opposes them politically or is not useful to them politically.
But Ghanshyam, how do you explain opposition states also using bulldozer? It's happened in Telangana, it's happened in Rajasthan when Mr. Gehlot was Chief Minister, happened in Maharashtra when Mr. Thackeray was Chief Minister. I mean, surely they have nothing to do with the BJP.
There is absolutely no doubt in anybody's mind in Uttar Pradesh and across the country that there is only one party that believes in the idea of bulldozer justice. One can criticize any government, and you are welcome to do that, but there's only one party, right from the Prime Minister to its chief ministers, to its various chief ministers. Different chief ministers cut, copy, pasted this dictatorial Talibani model of bulldozer justice. And if Supreme Court has to come down heavily on a government in so many ways, from fake encounters to bulldozer justice to various other things, if it was an individual, he would be in jail or she would be in jail. Supreme Court is not a tutor to a government. The government of Uttar Pradesh does not believe in constitution, and the Prime Minister is supporting or encouraging that government, showing that he also does not believe in constitution.
So let me ask Smita Prakash this. I mean, the words that the court used, constitutional ethos does not allow such abuse of power. Such actions are illegal, mala fide and unconstitutional. Executive cannot become a judge and demolish properties. The action violating separation of powers would be arbitrary. Basically, the court is saying that whatever an accused person is accused of, you cannot use that as a grounds to demolish his or her property. You're prejudging the guilt of a person.
Arbitrary and discriminatory is what the court said, Zaka. But there are various ways to go around it, is what the justice has said. You have to give prior notice of, I think, 15 days, registered mail, stick a notice, and if it's done in public property near a river, near a road, near a railway line, then it can be done, but after due process of law. So there are whole sort of loopholes, you want to say, or methods to go around it. But it's clear that the court has not looked in a good manner towards this, and seen it as a high-handed way of delivering instant justice. In fact, this whole bulldozer action, everybody knows that it is a kind of, it's a leitmotif which is of instant justice, right? Which, as you pointed out, many state governments replicated what began in Uttar Pradesh. State governments which are BJP, non-BJP, they picked it up because it became popular. The reason it became popular is that the government was re-elected with a huge mandate. The second was that many people saw it as, that these bahubalis or these powerful netas, which is just a euphemistic term for mafia who have political power, that instant justice was done because many people saw that these political mafia guys, they had a free run for a long time, and they could just grab people's land and they could do what they want. And somehow the long process of going through the legal quagmire, as a result of that, there was no justice done. So somehow initially the whole bulldozer action got a lot of support, got a lot of support from people who were voters also, not just BJP voters, but everybody seemed to have given a mandate to the BJP government in Uttar Pradesh, and it became something that other states replicated. But clearly now there is a correction which has come about, and hopefully all the states will make sure that this kind of arbitrariness will not happen again.
So, Javed Ansari, two things. One is to Smita Prakash's point, this whole business of instant justice came around because of the clear pendency of cases. 5 crore cases are pending across various courts in this country. In the Supreme Court itself, there's close to, I think, 1 lakh cases that are pending. And the reason why, people have felt a need for this instant justice is because of this long pendency, and a trial on average takes anywhere between 5 to 20 years to conclude. The point is, that is why people supported this when it initially came. Secondly, what also explains the fact that laws were framed in even opposition ruled states, Javed Ansari, for bulldozer justice. In Rajasthan, for example, when Mr. Gehlot was in power, this law was brought in for 3-year imprisonment or fine up to 50,000 rupees. The civic body can seize or confiscate property. The offender, of course, has to be served a notice first. In Delhi, where the property rights come under the Delhi government, not under the central government, The demolition can be done if structure is erected without permission. Demolition, if provisions of the DMC Act are violated, owner of the land can appeal against demolition in a court of law. Now, point is that, BJP might have introduced it and Yogi Adityanath must have been at the forefront of it first, but opposition rule states have also sort of followed the same copybook.
Well, they have, and they are, so whoever has done this is guilty, but nobody has gone about tom-tomming it, wearing it like a badge of honor, like the Yogi Adityanath government. If all of us who covered the UP elections, it was evident. In most public meetings, there'd be a bulldozer there, which was, it appeared as if the election symbol of the BJP, the bulldozer had replaced the BJP's election symbol. And to use the kind of language, zinda kar denge, matti mein mila denge, this is not the kind of language that behoves a leader, an elected representative in a democracy. In no civilized democracy should people be using this kind of language. Whether it's a Congress chief minister, whether it is a TDP chief minister or KCR or Mr. Yogi Adityanath. This certainly, justice has to be meted out by the judiciary, not by political leaders. And we've seen on umpteen occasions that they've used or misused this to settle either political scores or to score a point. So therefore to say that and there can be no moral equivalence. Just because Rajasthan was doing it under Gehlot, so everything that Mr. Yogi Adityanath did is kosher is not. Mr. Gehlot is guilty and so is this.
How would you speak to the fact that one of the arguments used by Mr. Adityanath's government and other governments is that, look, this is being undertaken on those mafias or criminals who have benefited by greasing palms, who have acquired, and amassed property worth crores by greasing palms and so on and so forth. So why should there be any sympathy for such nefarious elements?
There should be no sympathy. Let the courts decide. There's a law of the land. There's a laid down procedure. What are courts for? Then shut down all the courts and start. Today it's Mr. Yogi Adityanath is in power. He's meting out his brand of justice. Tomorrow somebody else will replace him, and they'll do the same. They'll meet their brand of justice. What are the courts for? What is the constitution for? There's a constitutional process for this. And we can't be saying that, there can be no moral, political or any reasonable justification for this kind of an act. In fact, people should be held accountable. And I'm happy that for once the Supreme Court has gone beyond just making oral pronouncements. They've laid down strict guidelines. And now action should be taken against those, irrespective of which political party they belong, those who cross the line or who err and who order these kind of things. Rather than saying that officials should be...
The nub of the problem, Kaushal Mishra, is when you have the state and state agencies going out and destroying properties of accused persons ostensibly. One, what the court said today, you're already prejudging the guilt that the person is already guilty for a completely different crime. The property has nothing to do with the crime, number one. Number two, the idea that in a constitutional democracy like India, you can have this kind of instant justice makes it look like it's a banana republic. Why do we have institutions and checks and balances? That's the nub of the problem. The nub of the problem is that you are throwing the IPC out the window, you are throwing the legal process, the judicial process out the window, and you are carrying out this instant retributive justice because you think a message needs to be sent.
Zaka, whatever remarks you have passed, please tell me, 67,000 hectares Jameen has been evacuated by the occupant who are illegal occupant. 35,000 cases are disposed of. UP has developed Institute of Forensic Sciences in the state of Uttar Pradesh on this illegal occupying land by some mafia. There is around 3,500 crore land was free from this type of mafia, and none is coming to the High Court or Supreme Court because it is totally legal. Who came to the Supreme Court? It is some ex-party with the political motive. but no affected party has approached to the High Court or Supreme Court because they occupied the land illegally. And the same constitution gives the power to the government, executive also, that if somebody is doing illegal work, the demolition is also the part of the power provided by the constitution, by the Supreme Court to the state governments. And that is why there is no contradictory remark passed to the Uttar Pradesh government. Yes, there may be certain remarks passed in general, but nothing is specific to any act of the Uttar Pradesh government except one.
No, so
one.
Here is what else the court has said. Demolishing
Yes.
one out of many structures shows the intent to punish. State cannot decide who is guilty. You are innocent until you are proven otherwise. If the structure is demolished, then it's collective punishment on the family, not just on the individual person. The officials behind such arbitrary acts should be made liable. These are very, very strong words, Kaushalji.
Yes, Yaka, but it is for the whole country, not for the Uttar Pradesh. That's what I'm saying.
So
Anywhere
yes, I mean,
where-
as Javed said, just because Rajasthan is doing it does not condone it.
No. Because I am saying, if any demolition was illegal in Uttar Pradesh, which we are calling the champion of the demolition of India, why there is no illegal act has been found yet? So we have to see. We are already going through the guidelines. Whatever the laid down by the Supreme Court today, we are already following that.
Gansham, even in today's order, and it runs into over 100 pages. Even in today's order, the court has said if property is illegally, built on public land, on parks, on drains, on lakes, riverbeds, etc., the state is well within its right to demolish those properties.
Zaka, there is no way one can argue with BJP because they will lie to the teeth. They are atrocious and immoral. There are, in the judgment, it is written, अपना घर हो, अपना आंगन हो, इस ख्वाब में हर कोई जीता है. It's a dream for every human being. इंसान के दिल में की ये चाहत है कि एक घर का सपना भी कभी न छूटे. लोगों को जीवन लग जाता है घर बनाने में और इनको शर्म नहीं आती बस्तियां जलाने में. What kind of atrocious human being as a government you have to be to celebrate politically with fanfare, with mobs, bringing down somebody's house and then come and argue here on television that we are only demolishing. Everybody knows you are targeting people and you're demolishing their houses without any legal provisions. But come out then and argue on, allow me to complete please. Here is what the data says. Their own urban affairs ministry responded in the parliament that Delhi has 55,000 illegal constructions, just Delhi. Gujarat has 35% illegal constructions. Bangalore, under their watch, has 1.8 lakh illegal constructions. How many have they demolished? Did they even question that? They did not. Because as I said, BJP is a party that knows that they can get away with any kind. For example, one final point. On this debate, on a national channel, BJP spokesperson says 67,000 hectares of land was freed from people.
Retrieved, yeah.
Do you know how many people would be living in 67,000 hectares at the density of people that are there in Uttar Pradesh? That is at least 1 crore of people. Did they remove 1 crore people from their dwellings and they have the power to come and say that this is an ultimate lie, this is fake narrative.
Zaka, you have heard Samajwadi spokesperson. He is justifying that because other states are not acting and following the law, so why UP is following the law? This is the problem of Samajwadi Party. If the Atiq property was demolished, if the Mukhtar's property was demolished, who illegally occupied all the land of poor, and they are building their universities like Azam Khan, that is why there is a problem in Samajwadi Party. If we did anything illegal, being the biggest opposition in the Uttar Pradesh, why the Samajwadi Party president not going to the Supreme Court and citing each and every case? Why they are sitting? Why they are doing the politics? Because they are lying. And we are very clear, we are following the law and we will follow the law.
I want to bring Smita Prakash back in. In August of 2024, Smita, in Telangana, under the Revant Reddy government, there was bulldozer action against properties that were linked to a very popular actor named Mr. Nagarjuna. In January of 2023, when Mr. Gehlot's government was there in Rajasthan, there was bulldozer action against one of the coaching center people who was an accused in the paper leak scam in Rajasthan. In November of 2022, under Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan's government, a drug dealer's property was demolished in Kochi. So yes, as much as Uttar Pradesh and other BJP ruled states have used bulldozer for this instant vigilante kind of justice, so have opposition ruled states.
So exactly. So when somebody says that Uttar Pradesh does tom-toms, or the BJP tom-toms what they do, the others may not be tom-tomming it, but they are doing it as well. So in the eyes of the law, whether you do it band baja ke saath or you do it surreptitiously, both are wrong in the eyes of law. It doesn't matter how you do it. It's a perception image. I get that. That perception is that the BJP does it with a great deal of fanfare and they're proud of it. No, the point is the others are also proud of it because they know that they're getting some kind of a political capital by doing it. You brought up the point about retributive justice, that this action is retributive justice. Let me tell you that politicians revel in this kind of retributive justice. Some of them believe that that's the only way to go about it, and we've seen it historically. We've seen it when encounter deaths happened in Bombay to control the mafia. There was all kinds of, Ab Tak Chhappan is a movie that is coming. It's glorified that kind of encounter deaths. We've seen what KPS Gill and his band of boys in Punjab did it to curb terrorism in Punjab at one point of time. We've seen how thousands of people were put in jails for almost a year or more when Article 370 was taken off. Now, all this can be seen as retributive justice or with a greater good in mind. At no point of time is this, it's in that grey zone of law or grey zone of legality that these actions are taken. Sometimes they're taken because there is no other way to bring about justice. But yes, when hundreds and thousands of people lose their homes because of an action needs to be taken against a Dubey or an Atik or somebody like that who's a Bahubali, then yes, one does feel bad and one feels horrible that thousands of people are out on the streets. There needs to be some kind of pendency issue needs to be tackled. Every Chief Justice, while leaving, demitting office, says this. Yep. While in office, they say this, but nothing actually happens. Pendency is the biggest issue. But once that can be cured, if that is done away with, then this kind of retributive justice will be done away with.
So Javed, that is the elephant in the room. People are not addressing the fact that the need to have this kind of instant justice. Forget about the state and state actors. At one level, some people are even cheering that because, anybody who's gone through the process of a court of law in this country knows it takes years to conclude trials. It takes years to get justice. That is the elephant in the room that needs to be addressed. If you had trials that concluded, in 3 months or 6 months or a year, you wouldn't find the need to send bulldozers to people's houses.
Zaka, what you're saying is 100% true. But the answer is not instant justice. The answer is not kangaroo courts. The answer is not bulldozer justice or encounters. That's not the way civilized democracies work. That is not the way the rule of law. Then what is I'll again reiterate the point. What is the point of having a court of judiciary? And if it's question of retributive justice, then aggrieved groups may also decide that, look, the law is not taking its course, powerful people get away with, so okay, let's start dealing with them on our own. We'll start bringing them down, shooting them down. So can we justify those things?
No. There is a difference. Javed, there is a difference between the state assuming those powers and individuals doing that for retributive reasons. I mean, if you kill somebody thinking that it's retributive justice, you will be prosecuted for murder.
Yes, Zaka. That is the point I was making. So why should just ordinary citizens be prosecuted? Why not those who give the orders? Not just those who carry out orders, but those who give these illegal orders. Why should they be not? The rule should be the same for everybody. Neither should those in power, nor should ordinary citizens. Nobody should be allowed to take the law into their own hands.
No, so
it's for the courts to dispense justice.
Net, as I come to the concluding part, net, what the court essentially has done is not put a stay or not, completely outlawed bulldozer justice. All it has said is there cannot be demolitions without prior notice. 15 days' time has to be given to the parties to respond. Demolition has to be videographed, and most importantly, the report must be sent to the district collector, and the district collector has to hear the parties before such demolition takes place. It has put guidelines. It has not outlawed this practice. Ghanshyam.
So therefore, what is the point? I mean, at least they put certain checks and balances. They've not given them a free run of the place.
The idea that this is, completely illegal, it's outlawed, it's barbaric, it's third world, instant dispensation of justice. The court has not bought that.
Well, Zaka
it has not struck down this practice.
In practice, that is exactly what was happening. In practice, the Dixit Parivar in Kanpur was burnt down with bulldozer. A daughter and wife was burnt down, and the state officials ran away. In practice, you have a prime minister in national elections saying to the opposition and people that Yogi ji se tuition lena chahiye ki bulldozer kahan chalana hai. This entire court verdict is against Yogi government, is against Uttar Pradesh government, is against the prime minister who's taken this doctrine and spread across the country.
Okay.
It's against every chief minister of Uttar Pradesh of the country who has taken the Yogi model of batenge to katenge and bulldozer action.
Final word, Kaushal Mishra, then Smita Prakash. I have to wrap up in the next couple of minutes. Yeah, Kaushal Mishra, then Smita Prakash.
Zaka, in whole judgment, nowhere, in almost 100 pages of Supreme Court judgment, nowhere the BJP state government of Uttar Pradesh has been criticized. This is A. They put the guidelines, and the completion, whole motto of this judgment was that any illegal demolition is illegal, but the legal demolition is legal. This is the complete guideline. The political parties are doing the politics, but the motto of this judgment is illegal demolition is illegal and legal demolition is legal.
Smita, final word, 30 seconds after wrap up.
Just one sentence that bulldozer justice may not be legal anymore, but bulldozer action is completely legal under guidelines.
Okay. Yes. All right. We'll leave it at that. Thank you very much to all our guests. Let's see how this story plays out. Of course, we could even have a ripple effect of this on the campaign trail in Maharashtra. The Prime Minister is going to be in Maharashtra for his final campaign of this particular election cycle. He's going to have a big rally to conclude in Shivaji Park in Mumbai, and whether or not this has some kind of a ripple effect in Maharashtra, we'll keep an eye out on those polls. But let's shift focus now to the United States, where new President-elect Donald Trump is putting together his team for a second term. His second term will see a mix of allies who've been completely loyal to him, former senior officials from the administration or from the US Congress, and of course there are a few surprising names in that list as well. Now, in the latest, Trump has decided to choose and tap into billionaire Elon Musk, the founder of SpaceX and Tesla, and more recently, the man who took over Twitter, as well as former GOP presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy, and both of them will lead what is being called as the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. Now, the aim of DOGE, ostensibly, is to dismantle the bureaucracy, cut regulation, and restructure various federal agencies. So this is one big announcement that Trump has made overnight, that Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy will be heading DOGE. DOGE is going to be an outside-of-government agency with oversight into the federal government, and will recommend to the executive, will recommend to the US president what needs to be downsides, what needs to be cut, and what needs to be completely let go of in the US government, the federal government and its various agencies. That's not the only pick. Trump has also tapped into Fox News host Pete Hegseth, who will serve as his Secretary of Defense, Senator Marco Rubio of Florida, Representative Mike Waltz. Both of them, in fact, Mike Waltz's name has been announced as the person who will be the National Security Advisor. Marco Rubio is widely expected to be tapped in as the Secretary of State. Of course, Kash Patel was also one of the names that was doing the rounds, but of course he got overlooked, and now Mr. John Ratcliffe will be the CIA director. So the question then, the larger big picture that we want to focus on is, why is this necessarily good news for India and not quite good news for China or Pakistan? We decode the various appointments, and then we'll have a special guest joining us on the other side, tech entrepreneur and someone who knows Elon Musk very well, right on the other side. But first, I want to play out the various announcements that have been made by Donald Trump.
This is also a massive victory for democracy and for freedom.
A week after Donald Trump won a second term in the White House, the contours of his new presidency have started taking shape.
Together we're going to unlock America's glorious destiny.
Donald Trump has made the first hires of his incoming administration. Some are being viewed favorably, some are being seen as unorthodox choices. But Trump's cabinet picks highlight what his priorities will be upon taking office in January 2025.
We obviously want secure borders.
Ever since election night, the world's richest man, Elon Musk, has been a constant at Trump's Mar-a-Lago transition headquarters. He has been advising the president-elect on cabinet nominees and even joined a conversation between Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
I'll tell you something, I don't follow the polls.
Trump announced that he was assigning Musk to work with tech entrepreneur and former Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy in a Department of Government Efficiency. They have been tasked with identifying new budget cuts. Trump released a statement saying, and I quote, "Together, these two wonderful Americans will pave the way for my administration to dismantle government bureaucracy, slash excess regulations, cut wasteful expenditures, and restructure federal agencies, essential to the Save America movement." Musk's Political Action Committee spent around $200 million to help Trump's presidential campaign, and he promises to continue to fund the party's efforts to advance the president-elect's agenda and help Republican candidates in upcoming congressional elections. Donald Trump has identified his picks for two key positions that are likely to shape his administration's role in the Middle East over the next 4 years. He has recruited Mike Huckabee as the US ambassador to Israel and Stephen Witkoff as Middle East envoy. Huckabee, the former governor of Arkansas, has a track record of hardline, occasionally provocative, pro-Israel rhetoric. He has previously said, and I quote, "Basically, there is really no such thing as, I need to be careful about saying this because people will get really upset. There's really no such thing as a Palestinian." Huckabee also said Israel has a rightful claim to the West Bank. In 2018, he said he dreamed of building a holiday home in the Israeli-occupied West Bank. Far less is known about Witkoff's policy positions when it comes to the Middle East. The 67-year-old Jewish real estate tycoon has no formal diplomatic or foreign policy experience. Trump has promised to maintain staunch support for Israel while swiftly ending its wars in Gaza and Lebanon. His first administration had an explicitly pro-Israel posture, and it's likely to continue in the second term. Trump is filling his foreign policy team with vocal China critics. Florida Senator Marco Rubio is the leading contender for Secretary of State. In 2020, Rubio was sanctioned by the Chinese government after he pushed measures to punish the nation for its crackdown on pro-democracy protesters in Hong Kong. The president-elect picked Florida Congressman Mike Waltz as his national security advisor. Waltz has said the US is in a cold war with China and was one of the first members of Congress to call for the US to boycott the 2020 Beijing Winter Olympics. Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, Trump's pick for the US ambassador to the UN, accused China of blatant and malicious election interference amid reports that China-backed hackers attempted to gather information from his phones. Throughout the campaign, Trump promised to carry out the biggest deportation exercise in America's history. His appointments confirm that he will stay true to his word. Tom Homan, former acting head of the US Immigration and Customs Enforcement, will be joining his administration as a border czar. Trump said Tom Homan will be in charge of all deportation of illegal aliens back to their country of origin. Homan was the public face of Trump's zero-tolerance immigration policies during his first term, which broke with the practice of keeping families together during detention and deportation proceedings. As a result, thousands of undocumented migrant children were separated from family members, drawing widespread backlash. The president-elect has picked Stephen Miller to be the White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy. Miller served as a senior advisor to Trump and was his lead speechwriter during his first administration. He has been a leading advocate for a more restrictive immigration policy and is expected to take on an expanded role in Trump's second term. In 2016, as a political newcomer, Trump had to rely on more establishment Republicans for key roles. This time, he has a wealth of loyalists who he has rewarded and made the Republican establishment. Trump named Pete Hegseth, a Fox News anchor and outspoken supporter of the president-elect, for Secretary of Defense. Hegseth has a distinguished combat record and has done sterling work for veterans, But he lacks the decades of high-level strategic experience that presidents normally seek from those put in charge of the most powerful military in the world. Trump also named South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem for Secretary of Homeland Security. She doesn't have any experience in keeping the country safe or in anti-terrorism, cybersecurity, or customs and border enforcement. But she has spent years lionizing Trump on TV shows and is a rock star in the Make America Great movement.
To that point, you addressed one.
And America's covert operatives will soon be under the control of another Trump loyalist. Former acting director of National Intelligence, John Ratcliffe, has now been tapped to lead the Central Intelligence Agency, or the CIA. Ratcliffe had faced previous accusations of weaponizing intelligence to boost Trump's political prospects.
All right, so a lot of interest on this DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. Billionaire Elon Musk has been tapped by Donald Trump for heading DOGE along with Vivek Ramaswamy. Joining us now is somebody who knows Elon Musk very well, fellow Silicon Valley tech entrepreneur and the CEO of Vionix Biosciences, Vivek Vadva. Thank you very much, Mr. Vadva, for speaking with us. So President-elect Donald Trump has nominated Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy to head what he calls the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. I just want to know your thoughts on how exactly this is going to work.
I think what Elon is going to do is what he did to Twitter. He went in there, he got together all the key people and asked them who they don't need. And then he started slashing and burning. Here, he's not going to get much cooperation. He's essentially going to look at each of the departments. There, he already commented that there are about 500 departments. He doesn't believe we need about more than 100. These are ministries we're talking about, as you would have in India. And they're going to start questioning all of these legacy government, departments and bureaus and start shutting them down indiscriminately. And then they're going to go through each of these, ministries, I guess we can call them, and then ask difficult questions about who's doing what, why are these people needed, and they're going to start slashing them. And then they're going to start going through all the regulations and questioning every one of them. Why is this needed? Why is this needed? And slashing them. Now that Donald Trump has control of all, three branches of government, he can do whatever he wants to do. The Supreme Court won't stop him. Congress won't stop him. The Senate won't stop him. So they have something very unique now. For the first time in probably 100 years in America, they have the ability now to completely restructure government, and they shall. I know Elon well enough now to know how determined he is to make things happen. And here he has an axe to grind, and he has a mission to dramatically reduce costs. And I think this is going to be a good thing, because it's like taking a forest and trimming it down. It'll regrow, but at least you've now got it to be manageable.
But Mr. Vadva, some would ask, what about the inherent conflict of interest here? Elon Musk is going to be heading an agency that's going to be outside of the government. It has oversight over government. In fact, his mandate is to downsize government. That's been given to him by the president-elect. But at the same time, he, or at least his companies, are beneficiaries of tens of billions of dollars of contracts from that very same government.
How is that different from the way things are right now? In America, you have legalized corruption. It's called lobbying. So what you do is that you make donations to politicians and they do your bidding for you. It happens in the open. It's all legal. So here, it's all in the open as well. That they're essentially going to be going through, and 99% of the regulations they're going to be cutting are not relevant to electric vehicles or biotech, which are for Vivek and for Elon. Those are the specific areas where they would be concerned. They're not relevant. And social media, yeah, there'll be checks and balances on Elon. But most of what they're going to be doing is not related to their businesses. And of course, everyone's going to be looking at what they do, and there'll be a lot of questions asked. So it's good to get an independent body to be looking at all this, because if this was happening within government, then it's like antibodies within the human body. They would attack. So they would be attacked from within. So Trump did something very smart by saying that this is going to be an external department that looks in and cleans everything up. So they have no inside knowledge here. They're coming in afresh, looking at everything and asking difficult questions. I'm really excited about this. This is a very unique opportunity, and this is something that I hope that India learns from. because India is a bloated bureaucracy with regulations dating from the British days. If you go through the Indian constitution and the laws, it's archaic, primitive British laws are still on the books. Well, Elon is going to show India how to clean its own act up, how to now come into the 21st century and to do what makes sense for the people.
I want to now talk broadly about what your reading is as to what happened in the election. I know you've written a piece specifically about the Indian Americans and how some of them possibly drifted away from the Democrats. But more than that, just broad thoughts, because when this election cycle started, you were not exactly mesmerized by Trump. You were not exactly a Trump fan. What exactly happened between when this election cycle started and now this massive, this landslide victory that Donald Trump has had?
No, I have been opposed to Trump because I was worried about, his ethics and values and so on and so on. And when Kamala Harris, became started running for president, I congratulated her, and I was, I sort of tweeted that she had me at hello. That's how excited about was Kamala Harris. But then after seeing the policies she was discussing, all sorts of stupid policies, and then the lack of policies. And then I started seeing, how Trump was now actually talking very sensible. He had a lot of very good, sensible policies about reigning in government, about, uplifting the people, reducing taxes, all good things. And I said, I have to leave my personal biases aside. And I didn't vote for Kamala, right? Because, and this is what happened with Indian Americans. Also, what really, got me very angry was the way they were treating India. I mean, the fact is that the administration has been playing games with India on Khalistan. They've been supporting Justin Trudeau, who's a left-wing nutcase, over a reliable, staunch ally, India. And the Indian community, everyone here knows it. I mean, it's not that we don't read, we watch News 18 also. We read the Indian newspapers as well as the American press. And we were seeing a consistent pattern of extreme bias towards an extremely liberal, out of control Canadian Prime Minister. And this also turned the Indian community off in a very big way. So, it was like one thing after another. And that's why people like me completely came around. And now I've gone from, being angry at Trump to saying maybe he's okay, to now I'm a supporter of Trump and Elon Musk and Vivek. I mean, I think good things are going to happen.
So let me ask you one final word. If you were on the other side, which you were a few months ago, if you were on the Democratic side, where would you sort of start from? Where would you restart this whole party machinery? Do you see a leadership in the second rung in the Democratic Party who could challenge the Republicans 4 years from now?
Yeah, I think they have to reflect it very carefully, because you have the extreme left wing of the Democratic Party, the socialists. Literally, this is like what you have in India with the extreme socialists who want to take America into this, la-la land of imaginary things where you give everything away to the poor and somehow the country becomes uplifted. That's the mindset over here. And on top of that, the social values are so far from the, from what people care about. I mean, I'm very open-minded about, sexual orientations and so on and so on. But the Democrats were taking it to the extreme. Mm-hmm. So now what's happened is that there has to be a countervailing force. If the Democrats want to stay relevant, then they better purge this entire progressive wing. All these people who call themselves progressives, the socialists, they need to be just thrown out of the party. And Democrats need to be, again, the party of the people, not the party of the extreme left-wing socialists. That's the dynamic at play in America.
Okay, Vivek Wadhwa, we'll leave it at that. Always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much for joining us with your thoughts and perspective into this radical new team that's being put in place by Donald Trump. Of course, the biggest talking point is Elon Musk. He's not just the richest man in the world, tech billionaire, the owner of SpaceX and Tesla and Twitter. He is also now easily becoming the most powerful voice, powerful personality outside of government, with huge stakes inside government. Now, Musk, ever since Trump won this election, he's been literally parked in Mar-a-Lago. He's sitting in on meetings. He's spoken to other world leaders. He's part of calls The call that Zelensky had with Trump, Musk spoke to him in between. The call that the Turkish president had with Trump, Musk was in on that call. He is giving his thoughts on every single appointment in the Trump cabinet. And now, of course, he has this outside of government role with oversight on what parts of the government to cut. So he's clearly one of the biggest winners in Trump 2.0.
As you can see, I'm not just MAGA, I'm dark, gothic MAGA.
He's the richest man in the world. He's the CEO of companies like Tesla and SpaceX. And now he has emerged as a significant political force in the incoming Donald Trump administration. Four months ago, Elon Musk decided to publicly endorse Donald Trump after he narrowly survived an assassination attempt. Now, he seems to be the biggest winner of the election. US President-elect Donald Trump has picked Elon Musk to lead a newly created Department of Government Efficiency for his incoming administration. He announced that Musk and entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy will work together to dismantle bureaucracy. Trump said the pair will provide external advice to the White House on how to drive large-scale structural reform. Trump said Musk and Ramaswamy would work with the White House and Office of Management and Budget to tackle massive waste and fraud in $6.5 trillion of annual government spending. Musk recently called for at least $2 trillion in cuts to federal spending. That's nearly a third of the government's budget. But he didn't offer specifics on how to go about it. He has also proposed eliminating hundreds of federal agencies, arguing that many of them have overlapping areas of responsibility.
You're being taxed. All government spending is taxation. So whether it's direct taxation or all government spending, it either becomes inflation or it's direct taxation. Your money is being wasted, and the deposit.
A star is born. Elon. Now he's an amazing guy.
But how did Musk get so deeply entrenched in Trump's inner circle? After all, the two did not always see eye to eye. In fact, Elon Musk supported Donald Trump's rivals Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden in the 2016 and 2020 elections. But after Biden took office, Musk started criticizing the new administration's policies. When Musk bought Twitter, he reinstated Trump's account. But over the next 2 years, he stopped short of endorsing him. That all changed after Donald Trump survived an assassination attempt at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. Hours later, Musk posted that he is fully endorsing Trump. Soon after, he started appearing at Trump's rallies and hosted his interviews on X. He started giving away $1 million a day to voters for signing his Political Action Committee's petition, ostensibly to support the Constitution.
We want support of the Constitution and the right, freedom of speech, right to bear arms. And that's what Donald Trump is going to do.
Musk's big bet on Trump paid off. The day after the election, investors sent shares of Tesla up nearly 15%. That lifted the value of the 411 million shares that Musk owns outright by more than $15 billion and marked a 2-year high for Tesla shares as a whole.
I want to soar above the skies and fulfill my responsibilities. With LIC. Paid your LIC premium? On time. दिल की सुनो, LIC चुनो.
LIC हर पल आपके साथ. विचार नए हैं तो अब नया विकास हो. पुरानी इस जमीन पे नया इतिहास हो. जरूरतें हैं पानी की जो दूर दूर तक. पियो ना ऊक से पियो जितनी भी प्यास हो. एक बार हमारा नाम लो तो एहसास हो. विचार नए हैं तो अब नया विकास हो. उन उंगलियों की खैर जो धागों को बुनती हो. फ्यूचर का ख्वाब देखो तो तकिए के पास हो. उड़कर चलो ना फ्लाईओवर से तो जानोगे हम कितना कुछ बनाते हैं विकास के लिए. उम्मीदें भर के देते हैं हर एक चीज में हम हैं ना. अगर आपकी उम्मीद खास हो. जुड़े हैं हम 140 करोड़ लोगों से. चारों ओर देखो तो एहसास हो. विचार नए हैं तो अब नया विकास हो. वेलस्पन वर्ल्ड.
मेरा यार आज सजे.
तुझे ऐसे कभी इमेजिन नहीं किया था?
मैंने भी.
क्या बात.
वाह. मम्मी.
मम्मी बोला. सास को मम्मी बोला.
हो गया यार सयाना अपना बांध के सर पे सहरा दिन ये लाया.
पता ही नहीं चलता ये शादी के रंग आप पे कब चढ़ गए. कब चुपके से आप एक मान्यवर बन गए. आप कब बन रहे हैं मान्यवर.
कल तक अंग्रेज लाठियां चला रहे थे, आज हम चला रहे हैं.
आप मुझे बताइए कि ऐसा क्या करे कि बंटवारा रुक जाए.
कुर्सी ज्यादा प्यारी है या देश.
इस सवाल का भी जवाब देना पड़ेगा बाबू.
तो देश रखो और कुर्सी झिड़ा को दे दो.
फ्रीडम एट मिडनाइट 15 नवंबर से सोनी लिव पर.
Got it?
राज.
शेफ राज. और क्या हुआ
भाई ये कुकिंग वुकिंग छोड़. ये बता ट्रू वैल्यू सही है ना. आरसी का कोई प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं होगा.
खिचड़ी बनाने से ज्यादा आसान है ट्रू वैल्यू पे आरसी ट्रांसफर. 50 लाख से ज्यादा कस्टमर्स जानते हैं. इजी आरसी ट्रांसफर के साथ गाड़ी बिकती है सिर्फ ट्रू वैल्यू पर.
अच्छा बच्चों, बड़े होके क्या बनोगे?
I wanna be a footballer, फिर कोच. Me a car designer, then an artist. अंकल और आप?
मैं तो बिजनेसमैन हूँ.
पर उसके बाद?
मतलब
आप बूढ़े होके क्या बनोगे?
अपनी खुशियों वाली रिटायर्ड लाइफ की प्लानिंग करो आज से विद आदित्य बिरला सन लाइफ इंश्योरेंस.
डीजे.
आप बूढ़े होके क्या बनोगे?
The next Indian icons, beating everyone on the globe. B6E and XEV9E. Mahindra's electric origin SUVs. Catch them at Unlimit India.
Oral health movement is where we want to put the ability to assess and influence your oral health in the hands of the consumer. It's a tech-enabled solution. You scan a QR code, which is there now on about 600 million packs that we're going to be putting into the market over the next few months. You scan a QR code, it opens up, it doesn't even need an app. It opens, you take a few photographs of your mouth with the tech on your phone. It sends you back near instantly a report of your personal oral health, guiding you on what you should be doing and talking about cavities, about gum health, about potential for bad breath. And then it allows you to set up a free dental checkup. So we've tied up with the IDA, the Indian Dental Association, and their dentists have kindly offered free dental checkups to anybody who comes through this route.
Colgate Oral Health Movement in partnership with News 18 Network and Indian Dental Association. Tant hit में जारी.
वो मिस्टर विकास की फाइल आप पॉलिसी बाजार. मैम, आपका हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस क्लेम अप्रूव हो गया है. अब आप सर को घर ले जा सकती हैं.
क्लेम के टाइम पे हमेशा आपकी हेल्प को तैयार. पॉलिसी बाजार 1 करोड़ का हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 390 रुपए महीने से शुरू.
जब हिंदुस्तान मिले हिंदुस्तान से
Visit your nearest JK Tyre Steel Wheel store today.
There's my boy! Phil, Ralph, run!
Thanks, guys.
झंझनाहट से जल्द आराम पाएं. सेंसोडाइन.
Viewers, it might already be too late. It might already be too late. Today, Wayanad voted. Today was the first phase. In Jharkhand, the turnout has been impressive. But viewers, for quite some time now, the Prime Minister has been warning voters, especially OBC, Dalit and tribals, that the Congress party plans to shave off significant chunks of the quota reserved for them and hand it to Muslims. Every time, viewers, the Congress has come back and hit at the Prime Minister. Every time the Prime Minister makes this statement, they say that the Prime Minister is cooking up stories. The BJP is cooking up stories to villainize Muslims and consolidate its own Hindu base, to polarize elections, to other the Muslim community, to make Hindus suspect the intent of Muslims. All through, the BJP has stuck to its guns, and it has hit back. It accused the Congress of lying by pointing out that the Karnataka government was considering a plan to reserve a portion of government contracts. Yes, viewers, government contracts awarded for public works for Muslim contractors. Despite the specificity of the BJP's accusation, the Congress leadership, as also the Karnataka Chief Minister's office, once again denied the charge, saying that on the eve of the elections, which was yesterday, the BJP was again trying to spread fake news. This is what the CMO said, the Karnataka CMO, in a statement. It said reports have been published in some media that a proposal to give reservations to Muslims in jobs is before the government. However, it has been clarified that there is no proposal before the government in this regard, unquote. But this denial flies in the face of documents accessed by CNN News 18's Harish Upadhyay. This, viewers, is an exclusive breaking news, and the documents are in my hands, viewers. Your channel has accessed a Karnataka government document. I've also tweeted it. You can look up, viewers, the Twitter. We've accessed this. Harish Upadhyay, our bureau chief, has accessed this document signed by the Chief Minister himself, which corners the Congress party. The document is on your screens, and I'm going to ask the director of this show to put it out. Viewers, it bears a signed and sealed instruction by the Chief Minister himself. There you can see the 2 dots. That's the signature of the Chief Minister. The documents reveal that the Karnataka government is considering quotas for Muslims so they can be guaranteed contracts for public works. Can you imagine, viewers? If someone has to build a road or something above 1 crore, even in that now, it's going to be given to Muslim contractors. The document is significant because it proves that the demand for the quotas is not being made from outside of government. It is being made by a group of Congress Muslim MLAs and MLCs themselves who want Muslims to be categorized into OBCs and include them under category 2B of the state reservation list. Viewers, it's not as if the Muslims are wanting this, but the Congress Muslim MLAs and MLCs are speaking on their behalf. Now, viewers, it could be that they are under pressure, I don't know. But if Muslims are included in the 2B category, their quota will eat into the quota set aside for OBCs. Not just this, the petition for the quota was spearheaded by the Chief Minister's own political secretary. And it was, quote, put up, unquote, for consideration by the Chief Minister himself. Not only does this show that the proposal has the backing of the Congress High Command, that in fact, the Congress High Command, the Congress Party has no qualms in giving quotas reserved for OBCs to Muslims. Forget the BJP. By pushing for this proposal, the Congress is going against its own great leaders who were dead against quotas on religious lines. Nehru and Patel were against them because they felt that such quotas would incentivize Hindus to convert to Islam and crucially perpetuate a sense of Muslim separatism. I'm not saying it, viewers. We're going to now pull out the hard facts for you. And I always tell you the hard facts so you can get closer to the truth. These are not my words. These will be Nehru's words. What did Nehru say? If we go in for reservations, he said, if we go in for reservations on communal and caste basis, in fact, he even included caste, we swamp the bright and able people and remain second-rate or third-rate. I am grieved to learn of how far this business of reservation has gone based on communal consideration. It has amazed me to learn that even promotions are based sometimes on communal and caste considerations. This way lies not only folly but disaster. It's not me saying it, viewers. This is Jawaharlal Nehru.